Here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, non-classic. This is episode number 3620 and Doubleshot number 3514. You got two X-Men books here. This first one, I read this book, I'm like, despite the title of the book, these are not the X-Men. You have Exceptional X-Men. That's what the book is called. Written by Eve Ewing, this is the first trade called Duty Calls. Collects the first 5 issues of the series. And a lot of the book is simply just... The dialogue of this book is referencing stuff from Kitty's... It's more like a Kitty Pryde book than X-Men. It's like, maybe this is supposed to be Kitty Pryde's solo book because we reference a lot of stuff from her past. Emma Frost is here, which they're no longer okay with each other. As a matter of fact, it's like Eve Ewing has gone back to the time of the Joss Whedon Astonishing X-Men where these two don't like each other at all. There is a bunch of references to previous X-Men stories in this book. Like, oh, and also Iceman is here, but he's not a member of the team. This is mostly put... Now, Kitty Pryde is not a member of the X-Men at this point. It's like... Oh, I guess Tom Brevoort, who probably won't put this together, but like, hey, we need to put Kitty Pryde in the book because she's so popular. Oh, Emma Frost, we should get a miniseries. Let's put in this book too, and however, not do much. Let's form this trainee group, which has no name in these 5 issues, and we're basically introduced to a bunch of new characters. We're fine characters. Also, this book, for the first time since before Marauders, Kitty is now being called Kitty. Not Kate, Kitty. Yep, I guess Eve must have a big Kitty Pryde fan, so let's get back to that. We're introduced to a bunch of new characters in this book. There's Trisha Marshall. We're introduced to issue 1. Very calm little young girl. We're also introduced to Theo Tran, a woman who's Vietnamese and Potawatomi. It's like she's half Native American, half Asian. We're introduced to her cousin, issue 5, who only appears for 1 issue. And it seems like her power is intangibility, which is the same ability Kitty Pryde has. You're like, excuse me? Yeah, it's like we have 2 people here with the same exact power. Trisha Marshall, she's the girl with purple hair on the cover. Her power is mental mimicry. It's like she is basically the stand-in for Colossus. Also mentioned issue 3, your favorite anime is Sailor Moon. So, Alex Luna, the first male member of this new team here. It's like, this is a weird thing. They do bring up Nightcrawler. It's like this character probably was supposed to be Nightcrawler, but I guess someone must have basically decided, oh no, we're not having Nightcrawler in this book. Despite the fact when he first was colored, he appeared blue. And I thought this was Nightcrawler. Nope, it's a completely new character. And his powers is emotional oppression. Basically, he can force people to... He's like a truth reader. You're like, okay. Yeah, and we're also introduced to another mutant. Let's see. Yeah, and it's like she's hiding from the X-Men. Yeah, and they reference them happening in like the main books, like referencing Jen McKay's X-Men. They reference one thing this book does bring up that apparently all the rest of the writers, the X-Buff, has completely forgot. The fact that Kitty Pryde is bisexual now. Yep, they had to go on a date with a woman. Fine. Oh, by the way, Iceman's here, but he's barely in this book. Also, here's the thing. is it ever brought up in this book that he is gay? Surprisingly, no. They do reference the fact that he and Kitty Pryde dated, which I've got Eve Ewing remember that. It's like Eve Ewing is just trying to fix certain characters. Like, you read these issues, it's like, yeah, let's fix some issues that people have had with these characters and try to be back in place. And I'm sure probably, like, you look at these characters, like, I'm sure maybe she wanted to create these new characters, but maybe she also wanted to use characters like Colossus and Nightcrawler in this book, but someone else told her, no, you cannot use those characters because they can be used in other books. So, like, fine, I'll give their powers to other characters. But then why in the world do we have a Kitty Pryde copycat here with basically the same exact powers, you know, running through walls like Kitty Pryde does? Also here, she's wearing her old Kitty Pryde costume, or Shadowcat costume. And they do bring up the Massachusetts Academy, the school that Emma Frost won with Generation X. They bring that up in here. Yeah. I do appreciate that they do bring up the fact these two dated, because it seemed like as soon as Iceman was outed as gay, which I still think is so stupid, it's like somebody at Marvel must have like said, we're not going to mention any of his straight relationships. None whatsoever. Eve's like, screw that, I'm mentioning basically Kitty Pryde's past relationship with Iceman. And I guess basically some people at Marvel may have like, fine, go ahead. We don't give a damn. And Iceman, despite being in this book, it's like there is virtually nothing for him to do in this book. He just shows up, represents the fact that him and Kitty used to date. Oh, by the way, do they find the actual villains in these issues, Percy? Not really. There's a flashback to Oasis for some reason, which is probably like the only reference this group of organizations has been made since the fall of X. In issue 5, there's a flashback where Kitty Pryde meets up with Yoko, which she's still in a wheelchair, though it's a flashback. She's not actually in the main story of the issue. And you're like, okay, interesting. So, and they just come together as an unnamed team in issue 3. And this book just abruptly ended after 14 issues. There was no announcement book got canceled. It just, because everything else was coming back. And I think and someone did question why in the world that this book didn't come back. It just stopped publishing for some reason. There was no explanation for it at all. Yeah. And, excuse me, my guess is they put this book out because, well, now like I mentioned, get in process to get a miniseries, so we gotta get pushed for that. They put up an Iceman in this book because probably Gil said no to the one in the book, and I'm sure probably Jed said no. I guess Eve's like, I'll take it in my book, but no, probably won't do much anything. Yeah. And also people thought that actually they thought it was like Spider-Man because Nightcrawler breathed pose of Spider-Man for some reason, not sure why. The book is okay. It's not terrible. I do enjoy the artwork, and I especially love the fact they have the 3D X-Men logo. Get the book roughly a 9 out, 8.5 out of 10. Next up is a book that, for some weird reason, and this was really weird. By the way, I think that's Alex Ross's artwork. I believe it is. This is Weapon X-Men: The Real Thing, written by Joe Casey. This book was initially launched as an ongoing series, and then, for some unknown reason, Marvel changed their mind and said, no, this is not an ongoing series, this is a mini-series, despite the fact they said it was ongoing. For no reason. Like, was the book not selling very well? I have no earthly idea of the reason for this. By the way, this is the second volume for Weapon X-Men. You're like, really? Yeah, because there was one published as part of the Fall of X stuff. And here's something really weird. The first issue is a loose tie to World Under Doom. Yes, so your members are four people. You have Wolverine, Cable, Chamber, yes, Chamber, the old school Thunderbird, yeah, he was brought back in Krakoa, and Deadpool. You're like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, this is of course the original Thunderbird, John Proudstar. They do reference in this book X-Men 95, the issue where he died. And and at least this book is interesting because they fight Baron von Strucker in this book. Yeah, they fight an actual villain. I'm like, wow, that's original. Yep, except it was LMD. You're like, damn. But hey, at least it's basically somebody who people probably know who was longtime comic fans. Oh yeah, it was also mentioned that Deadpool picked out the name, he trademarked it, and Wolverine's like, fine, whatever. It's a really cool book. It's interesting though it featured Chamber as part of a book, because it seemed like though ever since the last generation book ended, it just seemed as though that, and this is my honest opinion, I don't think anybody knew what to do with him. That's the weird thing related to Chamber. What did he do part of this? Well, he was featured a couple issues of X-Men Forever. He was kind of starting out in Krakoa as a supporting character in New Mutants for the first year and a half. And then his appearances were very sporadic, also appearing Legion of X throughout that entire book. And then he appears in this book. And then he's appeared in one physical book instant, the Spider-Man Spectacular. He appeared in the X-Men Hellfire Vigil, which, yeah, people wondering why the heck basically they decided to do that. And they fight against more Wolverines. It's like this book basically is a book that, well, how should I put this? It's a book that definitely even probably Rob Liefeld might have liked. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, I think that the first issue cover is done by Alex Ross, and then the rest book is done by Chris Cross. Yeah, it's kind of weird, and here's also weird, though. Despite being a tie-in for Wonder Woman Doom, it has virtually nothing to do with it at all. Not really. Yeah. It's got a good lineup, fighting a regular villain, and then dealing with Agent Lavagate, who was a character from Jed McKay's X-Men. I think this is one of his two appearances he made outside of well, this was the first. Well, he last time here was in Storm. He went back to Storm after this issue. Then he would appear a couple more issues in X-Men. Also did with Red Ronin in these issues. Okay, interesting, Red Ronin. And then the book just ends. Because we have to take place during X-Men 95 for reasons. But this book was fantastic. And I have to ask the obvious question. Why was this changed from an ongoing to a limited series? Because I'm sure a lot of people probably question about that. Especially it's got good members. Readers love these characters. People love reading a book featuring Cable, Wolverine, Deadpool. Like, those are fan favorites. I don't know what was the reason for the change for this, because I remember this was one book to launch as ongoing, and then Marvel just changed the book is being published to a limited series. I don't know if Joe Casey knew about that at all. I have no idea. But this was a cool book, and should it have been ongoing? Yes, it should have. By the way, the previous book has nothing in this book at all. Yeah. But that's another book that... Interesting logo for this book. I think, if I remember correctly, I believe this uses font for Age Apocalypse, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Excuse me. Yes. By the way, the interior is done by Crisscross. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. So I'm gonna head out briefly and come right back, and I'll watch the newest episode of Villager of Level 999. Okay. See you. Bye.